This is Dr. John, the Evolved Caveman, and this one is a big one. How to save humanity from itself. A manifesto for men who want to heal their community and their world. Let's stop pretending that the biggest threat to your life is a competitor, a bad boss, a weak economy, or the guy who drives 52 in the fast lane. The biggest threat to your life and your relationships and your damn sanity is what happens inside a human nervous system when it feels threatened. Because when humans feel threatened, we do ancient things. We get tribal, we get righteous, we get cruel, we get angry, and we get certain. We turn other people into villains so we can feel like heroes without doing the real work of becoming one. And men are especially vulnerable to this, not because we're bad, because we've been trained since we were very young to confuse emotional shutdown with strength. So today, I want to offer you a manifesto, not a lecture, not a political rant, not a be nicer TED Talk, but a manifesto for men who refuse to become the problem. Men who want power without corruption, strength without domination, confidence without contempt, starting with the only part you can actually control, you. The enemy is not them. The enemy is the untrained mind under threat. And here's the psychological truth. When your nervous system is dysregulated, when you're stressed, humiliated, exhausted, scared, angry, your brain goes into threat mode. And threat mode does a few predictable things. It narrows your attention. It prioritizes certainty over accuracy. It turns disagreement into danger. It makes you interpret other people's behavior as hostile. It fuels contempt, disgust, and righteous anger. And once contempt shows up, game over. Contempt is the emotional equivalent of saying, you're beneath me. You're not fully human. You're the problem. Contempt is how humans give themselves permission to do terrible things while feeling morally superior. So if you want to save humanity, start here. Train your nervous system so you don't become a weapon when you feel threatened. That's not soft. That's personal mastery. Your nervous system is your moral foundation. Spiritually, we love to talk about values, compassion, love, forgiveness, courage, integrity. Psychologically, here's the punchline. You don't live your values unless you're regulated. You live your conditioning when you're triggered. Your spiritual ideals don't run the show when you're flooded with stress hormones and old shame. Your survival brain runs the show. So the first step is become a steadier man, a grounded man, a calmer man. Because steadiness is what makes goodness possible. Steadiness is what gives you the split second to choose your response. Steadiness is what keeps you from passing your pain onto someone else like a cursed family heirloom. A man who cannot regulate himself will eventually try to control others. And right there is the root of most human ugliness. Power and control are often just panic wearing a suit. Stop worshiping certainty. It's a cheap drug. Certainty is also how humans become dangerous. Because once you're certain, you stop listening. Once you're certain, you stop seeing nuance. Once you're certain, you stop seeing people. You see categories and labels. The idiots, the woke, the fascists, the snowflakes, the parasites, the enemy. Certainty is the psychological gateway drug to dehumanization. Spiritually, certainty is often disguised as conviction. But real conviction doesn't require contempt. Real conviction doesn't require humiliation. Real conviction can hold strength and humility at the same time. So the manifesto says, trade certainty for curiosity. Trade contempt for discernment. Build friction for your worst impulses. This is where we get very practical. If you're serious about becoming an evolved caveman, you need to design your life like an adult. Meaning, stop relying on willpower. Willpower is a tiny, unreliable intern. Design beats discipline. So we build friction for the dark stuff. If you get sucked into outraged content, put time limits on apps. If you doom scroll at night and wake up angry or have a hard time going to sleep, remove the phone from your bedroom. If you go nuclear in arguments, create a rule. No hard conversations after 9 p.m. or when hungry, when exhausted, when buzzed. You can also create rules around no name calling, no criticisms, no put downs. Everyone has a right to take a time out if triggered. If your tongue becomes a flamethrower when you feel disrespected, install a pause. I need 10 or 20 minutes. Friction is spiritual because friction is humility. It's admitting, left to my own default settings, I can become a problem. I can lose control. And then doing something about it. Learn to read the true emotion underneath anger. Anger is the great masculine decoy. It's the Trojan horse. A lot of men feel only roughly 2 emotions, fine and pissed off. But anger is often a secondary emotion. Under anger is usually something more honest, more vulnerable, more scary to admit. Fear, grief, shame, helplessness, loneliness, disappointment, sadness. When you stay on the surface of anger, you become predictable. You become controllable. You become easy to manipulate. But when you locate the real emotion underneath, now you're free. Spiritually, this is the moment where you stop being possessed by the lower self and start acting from your higher self. Psychologically, this is emotional granularity and nervous system literacy. The manifesto says, if you can name what's true, you don't have to make someone else wrong. Replace good versus evil with threat versus need. This is the upgrade that can save your relationships and your sanity. When you're angry at them, ask, what threat does my nervous system think it's facing right now? What need am I trying to meet? What am I afraid will happen if I soften? The enemy is often a mirror. Not always. Some people are genuinely harmful. But a shocking amount of your reactivity is about old pain getting touched in the present. And the moment you can say, oh, this is about fear, or this is about shame, or this is about not feeling enough, you stop needing a villain. And when you stop needing villains, you stop feeding the machine. Build a life where belonging doesn't require hatred. The tribal brain is always asking, who are my people? Who is safe? Who is dangerous? Where do I belong? If your only sense of belonging comes from hating the outgroup, you will never be at peace. And you will always be recruited into someone else's war. So you need a different kind of tribe, a tribe built on values and character, not shared contempt. Where the price of admission is honesty, accountability, repair, actual courage, the manifesto says belonging without hatred is the future. And yes, it's harder at first, because rage is bonding glue. But rage also destroys the container it lives in. Make repair your religion. Let me be blunt. Most men don't need more information. They need more repair. Repair with their kids, repair with friends, repair with their own conscience. And repair requires one thing most men weren't taught: clean ownership. Not the "I'm sorry you feel that way" garbage, Real repair sounds like, I did X. It impacted you like this. I get it. I'm accountable. Here's what I'm going to do differently. And if I blow it again, here's how I'll repair faster. That's not weakness. That's leadership. Spiritually, repair is redemption. Not the religious kind where you get a free pass, but the embodied kind where you become trustworthy again. Psychologically, repair is how secure attachment is built. The manifesto says, a man who can repair becomes safe. A man who becomes safe becomes powerful. Here's evolved power. Steadiness under pressure, emotional self-control, moral courage, truth-telling without cruelty, boundaries without contempt, influence without humiliation. The man who can do that, well, he can change a room. He can change a family. He can change a culture. And that's the point. Because humanity won't be saved by perfect people. Humanity will be saved by enough people who can stay human under stress. Practice humanization like it's a daily spiritual discipline. Humanization is not a vibe, it's a practice. It means you refuse to reduce people to stereotypes, even when they're acting like idiots, even when they hurt you, even when they disagree with you. Humanization means I will not turn you into a monster so I can feel like a saint. And that doesn't mean you tolerate abuse. Boundaries are part of humanization, but you hold your boundaries without becoming possessed by contempt. So here's a daily practice. Simple, brutal, effective. When you feel contempt rise, ask yourself, what pain would I have to be in to act like that? You don't have to excuse them. You don't have to like them. You don't have to invite them to Thanksgiving. But you break the spell. You remember, oh, right, human. They've got their own struggles. Pause. Take a breath in through your nose. And now a long exhale. Drop your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Feel the weight of your body. Now ask yourself, what is the kind of man I want to be when I'm stressed? Don't answer with fantasies. Answer with behavior. Who are you when it's hard? That's your real spirituality. That's your real psychology. The future belongs to men who can hold complexity. The world is messy. People are mixed. You are mixed. Anyone selling you a worldview where one side is pure evil and the other side is pure good is selling you a nervous system addiction. Because moral simplicity is soothing. And it's also how humans justify atrocities. Become the man who can hold complexity without collapsing into hatred. That's what maturity looks like. That's what strength looks like. That's what real leadership looks like. Your job is not to win. Your job is to build what's next. You want to save humanity from itself? Start by refusing to be easily provoked. Refusing to be easily purchased by outrage. Refusing to be easily manipulated by fear. Refusing to turn your pain into someone else's problems. Because the future is built by men who can do three things: regulate under stress, tell the truth without cruelty, and repair when they fail. Notice I said when, not if. Because you will fail. I will fail. We all do. We're human. The question is, do you double down and get defensive? Or do you repair, learn, and evolve? That's the line. That's the fork in the road. That's the difference between being a decent, good man and being a dangerous one. So here's the manifesto condensed. Train your nervous system. Stop worshiping certainty. Build friction for your worst impulses. Learn the emotion under your anger. Replace evil with threat and need. Find belonging without hatred. Make repair your religion. Redefine power as steadiness and integrity. Practice humanization daily. Hold space for complexity and build what's next. And if you do this, and if enough of us do this, humanity won't need saving from itself. Humanity will become what it was always supposed to be, a bunch of imperfect, scared, brilliant primates, learning how to love without burning the village down. So here's a repeatable Evolved Caveman code. 12 lines. 1. Regulate first. If I'm flooded, I'm not wise, I'm just loud. Number 2. Choose curiosity over certainty. 3. Name the real emotion. Anger is often fear, grief, shame, or loneliness in a monster truck. 4. Refuse contempt. Contempt is how humans give themselves permission to be cruel. 5. Humanize on purpose. I won't turn you into a villain so I can feel like a hero. 6. Tell the truth without humiliation. Precision beats punishment. 7. Hold boundaries without hatred. Can be clean and kind. 8. Own my behavior fast. Defensiveness is unevolved. 9. Repair like it's sacred. I don't worship perfection. I practice restoration and repair. 10. Use power to protect, not control. Control is often panic dressed like leadership. 11. Belong without an enemy. I won't buy connection with shared disgust. 12. Build what's next. I'm here to reduce harm and increase dignity, starting with me. So here's the quick Evolved Caveman code drop. Regulate first, choose curiosity over certainty, name the real emotion under anger, refuse contempt, humanize on purpose, tell the truth without humiliation, hold boundaries without hatred, own your behaviors fast, repair like it's sacred, use power to protect, not control, belong without an enemy, build what's next. That's the code. Back to the episode. Pick one thing, one practice, one repair, one boundary, one hard conversation where you stay regulated, and go do it. Because the world doesn't change when we understand things. It changes when men like you live and act differently. If this episode hit for you, please be sure to share with others and like us on Apple Podcast. Until next time, this is Dr. John, the Evolved Caveman, signing off.